Always got the latest and greatest at Hiawatha Hobbies. They got a massive N-scale collection, all kinds of scale trains, kits, Bowser stuff. I mean, just look at all the selection here. Rivet counter, operator, Athearn ready to roll. Even the old stuff that you can't find hardly anywhere anymore. I mean, this is the best selection out there. Just piles of trains everywhere. Vehicles, figures. And look at all that. That's just Genesis on those bottom 3 shelves. Tons of ready to roll. Another case, just Genesis. Whole shelf just for Atlas freight cars. Some Broadway Limited. More Scale Trains engines. More Athearn Genesis. Intermountain. Walther's Mainline. Walther's Proto. Atlas locomotives. Oh yeah, they have O-scale. But we'll get to that. More Athearn freight cars over here. Look at this, a whole wall. And then Walther's, Kato, passenger cars, freight cars. Stuff like, where are you going to find this anymore? Look at this. Everything you could probably ask for or want is here. Accurail kits, Fox Valley cabooses, Rapido gondolas, covered hoppers, box cars, gondolas, Kato Gunderson Maxi 4, tons of trailers, all the scenery you need, vehicles, Walther's, Atlas, Athearn, tons of containers, lighting accessories from Walther's, Woodland Scenics, and so on. And then let's talk about some buildings. You need buildings? We've got buildings. Look at all these buildings. You need it? It's probably here. Here's some more finer stuff. Don't have time to build it? Buy it already pre-built. Magazines. Oh, look, more Walther's buildings. Into O-scale? Got some Lionel. MTH track. Atlas track. Lionel fast track. Smoke fluid. More freight cars. Here's some more seasonal stuff. Here's some more Lionel MTH. Even Hot Wheels. They have Hot Wheels. I didn't even know this was a thing. Look at that. That's nuts. A Hot Wheels auto rack? No way. That's pretty dope. Buildings galore. Heck, they have RC. Slot cars. Just look at all these slot cars. Need another hobby? Probably not, but they're here. As many as you could possibly want. Model kits, planes, automobiles, everything. It's here at Hiawatha Hobbies on Silvernail Road, right off of Highway T in Waukesha. It's nuts. If you need it, it's probably here. Go online, check them out. Can't find it on there? Call them. They just might not have it on there yet. They get more and more stuff in every day. Look at that. That's pretty neat. So check them out. Tell them Sean sent you. They even have all these Lionel engines. O-scale, look at that. Isn't that nuts?
Yeah. Those two, I think
the Lionel one's down there?
Alright, so I'm going to go over a couple of things about cleaning cars and stuff in N-scale. Since I do N-scale too, I've got some N-scale reviews. We're going to cover cleaning right now. So I just went over and wiped down all my rail because I don't want to do a test on dirty rail. And I know I don't use this track that often and I just moved. So it's probably all filthy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some rubbing alcohol here. And we're going to soak down this pad. Okay, now we're going to stretch it nice and flat. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my cab car here, because this needs power pickups to be able to use the lights. And I know that they're flickering, so I'm just going to clean up those wheels a little bit. Just roll it back and forth. That's all you need to do. Nothing fancy. Hook it back up. We're going to run the train across now. Nice and easy. We don't want to cause a massive derailment in case it catches. Now we're going to throttle up a little bit, and we're going to use the locomotive here to help it clean itself. Before we let it go flying off, we're going to turn the power off, escort it off nice and easy, and we're done, just like that. So now, you should have relatively flicker-free lights and very smooth operation. Kato locomotives already have pretty smooth operation as it is, and you can always put a small capacitor in your lighting for your commuter cars to help smooth out the flicker. But eventually I will be building an N-scale layout based on commuter service, so I'm going to want to probably work on something like that. I've got 2 commuter trains right now. They're both lashed up right here. I gave away a couple of cars at Train Fest to a dear friend of mine and my father's. And I have 3 more on the way. So I'll have a couple of little trains, probably like a 4-car and a 5-car, and something in sitting, waiting, and chilling. But this is it for now. I've got F units and E units to run with it. N-scale is fun for just running for me. For operating, I think it's kind of tough. I've never really operated N-scale, other than passenger service and just stopping at stations. I think it'd be kind of difficult just because you've got like very limited options for coupling and uncoupling the cars quickly and effectively. So without further ado, let's get to the reviews. Alright, so let's get to these reviews here. We've got a few things to go over. We've got the 400 set, which I'm going to save for last. N-scale AMT set. First, I want to go over these Microtrains covered hoppers. They're 3-bay covered hoppers with elongated hatches. Doesn't give you a specific size or anything. Microtrains has always made pretty good stuff, as far as I recall. I've never had any major issues with them. I've always been pretty happy with them. These little guys here, MSRP, they're all a little bit different, it looks like, based on the railroad. For instance, the CSX is $29.80. The Southern Pacific is $30.90. But you can expect at Hiawatha Hobbies to spend about $25 on these. So we'll put them on the track. Nice free rolling cars. There we go. So, we're going to leave those run for a second here. This is my first time really reviewing N-scale equipment. If I get enough interest, I'm happy to do O-scale, G-scale, etc. As long as it's available at the hobby shop, I can get it. So, these cars are made in America with magnetic couplers. They've got some of the prototype information in here. For instance, the Union Pacific with the SP on there was built in 1980 with Barber roller bearing trucks, and the region was the West. It's kind of neat that Microtrains has some information on the back of these containers about that. Kind of neat, helps you if you're prototype modeling and you want to be really specific about the equipment and rolling stock that you have in your layout and you're not too familiar with it. That's actually a really neat little feature. The UP ran from the 80s to the present, and then this car, the CSX, is actually from 2009 to the present, but it was built in the 70s. So maybe it was updated. Looks like it's got the new safety stripes on both cars. Very good detail all the way around. They seem to be rolling just fine. I believe that these are plastic couplers and plastic wheels. If I'm wrong, please correct me. Like I said, I'm not too familiar with the N-scale stuff, but I do belong to an N-scale club that travels around, and it's quite a bit of fun. So as soon as I get them around over here, we'll put them on the turntable and take a good look at them. Alright, you can see a few more of the details on here. You can see there isn't a whole lot of underbody detail, just the hatches, some minor stuff. You can see some of the rivets and whatnot underneath there. But overall, the car looks very good. If there's something you want me to cover with N-scale reviews that I'm not covering, please let me know. I'd be happy to go over it. I'll admit, what I'm surprised by is the detail in the parts that are on here. For instance, that brake wheel looks pretty nice, even for as small as it is. You got nicely molded on details there. You got the train line air hose going across the bottom. You still have all your lettering and stuff, the modern safety stripes. Yeah, it looks like plastic wheels and plastic couplers. I know some people like to upgrade them. Some people don't care. They run just fine. These are not see-through steps, which is fine. I'm used to it in HO scale. I'm sure O scalers have had it for years. But they do look very good. There's a nice texture to them. Those hatches are nice. Good detail on those. I don't know if they open or not, but I'm not going to try. But overall, I think that these cars are really nice. I'd be happy to have them on my layout. The trucks look really good. And I think for $29 and in that area, $20 to $31, or $29 to $31, I think is a good price. And of course, at your local hobby shops, you might get a different discount. But at Hiawatha Hobbies in Waukesha, Wisconsin, you can pick these up for about $25 a piece. I apologize if the video is shaky. After shooting with the tripod and the light and that round table I made, I saw that there's way too much glare, so I got to do this the old-fashioned way. So these are the hoppers on loan from Hiawatha Hobbies for review. The Southern Pacific and CSX models here. Not as much detail as I'm accustomed to, but still overall very nice, especially for cast and detail. The roof walks look really good on both of these models. The hatches are very nice. The details that are separately applied, like the brake wheel, look amazing. And yes, they are plastic wheels and plastic couplers, but I don't think that's going to harm the operation any. I think that they ran just fine without any issues. Average detailing on the bottom. With N-scale, I don't know how detailed that it gets, but you can see the rivets underneath. The hatches all look really sharp and crisp. The detail that is there is amazing. So these have the modern stripes and whatnot on the sides for the safety stripes. I don't think that they're reflective, but they do look pretty good. Alright, so here we've got the AMT N-scale modern commuter train from Atlas, with LED lights, free rolling metal wheels, and designed from drawings with the cooperation of AMT. Here's your information. So this model lists for $274.85, but if you go to Hiawatha Hobbies, you can expect to pay about $200 for it. These just came in, they haven't even been priced out on the site yet. You got your basic warranty information here. A nice, good piece of foam protects the models. We're going to lift this baby out and get started with the engine. So you got some amazing detail on this guy. The underbody detail is actually exceptionally nice. Get a little bit closer there for you. All your fans, pantograph, antenna. Look at all those horns. Holy smokes. So we're going to set that guy down on the side here. Put our plastic to the side. Pull out one of our coaches. Here's the cab coach. Beautifully detailed. Surprisingly light. This is a very lightweight car. Your rubber doors. Nice detail there. Nothing underneath. Don't need to. Not high enough off the ground to see anything really. So we're going to set them on the track here. Pull out our second car. Again, very nice detail where you can see detail. Tinted windows and whatnot. All the doors you could need for getting on and off. Good details on the end, including these little deflectors here, or cable holders, whatever they are. We'll point out in the right light, you can see these discolorations here. I'm not sure if that's supposed to be there or what. You can see a little bit here. I'm sure it's mold marks, but you can, I think in the right light you might be able, there you go. You can see the actual discoloration. I honestly think that might be a detail that's supposed to be on there, but I'll be the first to admit, I do not know for sure. So I'm actually having a little bit of trouble getting this guy on the track. This truck seems to be stuck over to the side here. Looks like it's just stuck on there. So the Kato re-railer for that I'm using isn't working so well for these cars. Alright, I'll relocate the camera and we'll do some running. So right now this is wide open throttle on a Kato power pack. We have first to admit, I'm not sure how many amps, if there is a whole amp coming out of this. I know this has never been used, it just came in, hasn't been put on the shelf or anything, so it might take a little bit of time for it to warm up and maybe even break in. So, we'll stop and give it a minute. So far this has been the fastest that it'll go. I'm sure with some more time for braking it would probably go a little bit quicker, and it is still picking up speed, you can hear it. And it could be the unevenness of the pool table, or maybe the radius of the curves, but it does not like to have those cars on this track. It could have been a combination of it slowing down into the curve and jerking on its way out. But it does not want to keep these cars in the back. So I'm going to try this one more time and try going in both directions. Again, these cars are very light. Nope. I think the radius is too tight for it because it doesn't want to stay on. As soon as it hits that curve, it's coming off. So that's good to know. These are some fairly tight curves. This is a starter set from Kato. We'll try going in reverse. Some nice headlights on there. You've got marker lights on the back of the engine and on the back of the cab car, or on the front of the cab car, I should say. But I think it's just going to keep, it's going to stay on for a little bit. Now that this model's moving a little bit quicker, it's a little bit nicer, a little bit more fun. Overall, I would give it a very good rating here. It's a nicely detailed model. I think it's a good price. I don't think it'd be bad to get a set of track with this and put this around the tree or start a layout with it. Just perhaps a bigger radius than I have. Well, there's some very nice details on this set, like I said earlier. Everything on the cab car and on the locomotive is very crisp and sharp. Of course, this guy wants to roll right away. So they are very free-rolling trucks. I'm guessing the only reason the cab car hasn't moved is because it's got the metal contacts. We can see the detail in the rivets and everything. Looks excellent. Sorry, I'm still holding it by hand. The paint is nice and crisp. As far as I know, it's accurate. Details on the back are very nice. I must say, I love the details on this locomotive here. Everything is so crisp, it's like HD. See if we can get a little closer here. There we go. Now I can try to do this locomotive some justice. There's a lot of detail here. This is almost as good as HO, I'd say. Probably more robust, too. Alright, so last for the end scale, we've got this Kato 400 miles in 400 minutes. Chicago Northwestern Pullman bi-level set. List price on this guy is $260. $260. Sale price is $190 or $189.99 at Hiawatha Hobbies. Go ahead and take this guy out. So you've got your car card here. With all the information on the train, what it might look like, trip pins, how to use the foam, the switch for the lights in the cab car, etc. Got your standard issue Kato bubble wrap, and now you've got this amazing set of cars. So we're going to start off with the cab car. This guy's got some excellent detail. Let's see if we can't zoom in on this guy here. There we go. Got excellent detail on this. Crisp, clear lettering, number 154. There's our switch for the marker lights right here. So what you can do is turn that off in case you don't want them, which is sliding it towards the front of the car, towards the pilot, in case you don't want those on if you're using them in commuter service. So if you're pushing this and there's cars on the cab end of this car, you can turn those off. There's really nothing to have on this end. These cars don't have a ton. These cars don't have a ton of detail, but they don't have a ton of detail. And what detail there is done very well here. You've got the tanks and everything you can see from the side that you want to see from the side. All the trucks look nice and fit and finished, as per expected from Kato. So I'm going to put that guy on the tracks. Basically all of these are the same with different numbers. And then you've got, I think that might be the cafe or coach buffet. So, got the cab coach, parlor is 6,400, 4-window coach, and then a coach buffet. So, I hate to say it, but all these cars are pretty much the same as far as detail goes. Nothing huge, nothing to change. You can see the empty slot for where the switch would go on the cab cars. So I'll put this guy on the tracks. Same thing can be said for 705, which is just another 4-window coach. Nothing crazy, nothing special. In fact, if you look inside, even the seats are basically the same. There's nothing really different about the seating in there. So I'm not sure what all the differences would be, but as far as the model goes, there aren't too many. But at least they made the set. Now we get to the coach buffet. So here you can see we've got our door for the kitchen. Different window variations over here, but it's still mostly just a coach. I don't know if they even changed the interior beyond this point because you can't see it. But the fact that they give us at least different car sides, I think is a good thing. And from what I can tell, I don't see any blemishes, damage, or any defects on these cars. Now here's the E-unit, the E8. Very crisp detail all the way around, what you've come to expect from Kato. I'm sure the drive quality is just as good. Nice detail in the back there. Very nice cast-in details up here. Everything's so nice. Being that it's cast in, you might not get the detail, so-called quality of HO, but you don't have to worry about the damage either. So now that we have it on the tracks, let's take it for a spin. So I'll bring this one by a little bit slower. Beautiful cars. Love that paint. You can see on the end here, they've got working marker lights. Now if we stop it, you can change the direction, and you get the nice headlight. Alright, so the good news is we only have 2 more to go. The better news is they're the same car. So here, we've got the Rapido Gunderson Husky stacks, TTX as delivered, and then TTX forward thinking. Retail is $49.95, regular priced at Hiawatha, or their normal going sale price of $41.99. Never actually had a Rapido freight car before. I've had the Algoma Central cars, not the freight cars. So first thing I want to point out, once I get this plastic off of here, is they've got grab irons in here. I'm guessing those are extras just in case you lose them. Put this guy down. So, let's take them out and take a look. This car is pretty heavy. I'm guessing it's die cast or cast metal. And it's also taped. I don't want to be too aggressive in taking this apart, but they did tape it shut. Okay. First off, I don't like this. One, you could easily damage the car. Paint details, etc. And two, you don't need to tape stuff shut. So I really don't like that. So that's one mark against Rapido already. So as we're looking at this, we can look at some of the details here. You can see that these grabs here are actually bowed out. Pretty sure they should be straight up. I know stuff happens overseas when it's getting shipped in a different kind of weather and whatnot, but that's not very pretty. So it's very free rolling, rolls nice and smooth. I don't know if I want to unpackage these because these are taped together too, it looks like. But very nice containers. Paint is nice and crisp, really good finish. Not gonna lie, I feel like this side here looks really plasticky. Not a huge fan of this container. Looking at the top, it's really nice, but looking at the side, it looks super plasticky. Plasticky, not G. But to each their own. I prefer Walther's containers. The detailing on the back is actually super nice too. Got some different stuff on there for you. You can take a look at it. See if we can get this thing to zoom in here. Well, anyhow. So you have the JB Hunt container, the BNSF container, and again, the top looks really good. Everything is super crisp and super sharp. But the side just looks so plasticky, it looks like it's cast in color, which I'm not a huge fan of. Got your placards and stuff on the back and your hardware for the doors. Again, that white, I don't like that white. So for me, that's going to be a mark against Rapido for these cars here. They did do a cancer car, but that was only available if you bought it on the website. And really the only difference between this model and this model is going to be the paint scheme. And then you even get the same containers. And they're the same numbered containers. Not that many people care about the road number of the containers. But I'm not going to take this one out of the package even, but you can see that the details in here are already bent way out of place. I don't know if that was shipping or packaging or what, but I'm actually kind of disappointed in these. So I'm not a fan of the containers. The car overall is really nice. It's got see-through details everywhere you look. Really nice attention to detail. But you can kind of see a couple different shades of yellow. Truck detail, you can see the brakes underneath. Nice metal axles. I don't know why Rapido's getting into the intermodal market. I'm not really sure that I'm glad that they did. The car isn't the worst in the world, but if I'm going to spend that kind of money, I think I'd buy the containers myself. At least you get different containers for each car you get. This route, you're getting the containers that they give you, which in this case, every TTX one I've seen is BNSF and JB Hunt. And I want something a little bit different in my yard and in my roster. So that's it for the reviews on this episode. Overall, I'm happy with the N-scale stuff. The Atlas just doesn't like the tight radiuses. And this stuff is unfortunately disappointing. The details getting warped and bent out of place. I feel like the lack of paint quality on the intermodal containers. And the lack of diversity. If you're going to put containers in here, try to change it up a little bit. Because you've got two different... If it was the same road number for the well car and the same road number across all the containers in that number, that would be fine. But here you've got the same stuff. So every TTX car I'm going to get is going to have the same stuff. And I'm not a huge fan of that. If that's not correct, please let me know down in the comments. If there are any other product reviews you guys want to see, let me know. I'm happy to get them. If it's something recent, I can still get it. I have access to everything just about everything that's out there. So, that's it. I'm going to clean up a little bit and back to work. Alright, if you're still with me, you're in luck. I don't know if you noticed, but I had something hiding underneath the pool table tonight. If you follow the link in the description to my Facebook page, and you go on there to Chicago, Milwaukee Northwestern, go on the page, post on it, share a video or a photo of you with your trains, and say, I want the Unitrack loop. The first person to do that, guess what? You just won yourself a Unitrack loop. I mean, not just track. Just like it says up here. It has the transformer, just in case you don't read Japanese. Everything you need right here. Instructions, full circle, straights, power pack, and a transformer. All for you. I'll pay the shipping anywhere in the lower 48 states. It's yours. All you got to do, follow the Chicago, Milwaukee Northwestern Facebook page link, go to my page, comment on it. If you're not already on there, get in there, and then comment on the page, post on it, say, I want the Unitrack, and share a picture of you with your trains. Not your trains, not just you, but you with your model trains. If you need track and you need to get started, this is the perfect way to get into it. And we'll have more stuff later to give away. Just hang in there. So follow that link, share a picture with you and your trains, and say, I want the Unitrack. We'll see you in the next video.